Okay, we'll start right off with the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Very important meeting for us. We've got a number of things to go through. The most important of which, we've got a few people here for some awards and some recognitions. So in a few minutes, we'll get to that. Just as a couple of reminders, next week, Tuesday the 21st, is our budget vote and proposition vote for Vision 2020. That's here in this room as where we're sitting right now from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. As far as the school budget goes, it's a responsible and forward-thinking budget. This Board of Education and community members spent months working on that, and we're asking the public to chime in on their expectations with our budget on Tuesday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. in this room. As far as Vision 2020, which is a proposition on next Tuesday's ballot, Vision 2020 addresses key areas of needed renovations within our schools, supporting the fine arts, performing arts, technology education, and physical education athletic programs. It's a comprehensive program. If you take a look at these storyboards over here and the information that's been sent home over the last couple of months, there's a tremendous amount of information for you there. If you have any questions regarding it, please feel free to contact my office. I will speak with you about any of your questions that you may have. We also want to make sure we highlight with Vision 2020 that we've designed it to maximize all state aid funding possible, and we're also putting together a financing package on it that ultimately, when we complete Vision 2020, we will be able to restructure our debt payments so that our overall debt payment structure drops by more than $800,000, and will complete this work. So it's a pretty exciting time for us. We're very fortunate to have gone through a very rigorous process to come to the point where the board gelled around this project and our budget for the 1920 school year, and we look forward to hearing the results of the community's expectations as far as our budget and Vision 2020 next Tuesday. And with that, I have a short presentation for the Board of Education regarding an item they're going to be acting on tonight regarding the Dance Camera Energy power plant. So earlier in the week, we sent out a press release regarding a memorandum of understanding that was achieved with the Dance Camera Energy Group. For those of you that are not aware, Dance Camera has proposed through the New York State Public Service Commission to build a new power plant down at the site of Dance Camera where it is right now. If that process does go through and they get approved for that construction, that will begin about a year from now, if their plan holds true. And if that timeline holds true, they expect to power on the new power plant in the fourth quarter of 2023. Knowing that the financing of power plants in Marlborough are very important to the structure of our tax payment system, we've engaged in a lot of dialogue over the last couple of years with local officials, Orange County officials, state officials, to discuss how that plant is valued and how Roaston is valued. So the culmination of some of those discussions really came to a memorandum of understanding. So the purpose of that was really outlining key areas of financial interest that exist between Dance Camera Energy and the school district. We established a framework for a payment in lieu of taxes, which is the pilot. And we also created a new community benefit agreement that the board is considering for approval tonight. Just want to give a general sense of what the community benefit agreement is. The details are all on our board docs page. If anybody can't find it there or can't access it, contact my office and I will make sure I get you a copy. But currently there is a community benefit agreement, but the current community benefit agreement produces no benefit to the district. It's based upon an energy output model for Dance Camera, and Dance Camera has never reached the level of production for electricity output since the CBA has been in place to actually produce a dollar at all of any benefit to the district. We've been able to successfully negotiate a new community benefit agreement beginning in the 1920 school year, so beginning this coming school year, and it's a two-phased community benefit agreement. The first phase is prior to the completion of the new plant. It's a 5-year agreement, and we will immediately begin getting a $100,000 payment per year for those 5 years. Phase 2 will kick in after the completion of the new plant. It's a replacement of Phase 1, and it will be a new 5-year agreement that will result in the school district receiving a payment of $250,000 a year for each of the 5 years. So truly, right away, we're seeing an economic benefit from the community benefit agreement, and that is a 5-year renewable, renegotiable community benefit program. The next piece is more of a memorandum of understanding, the payment of lieu of taxes, or pilot as it's been known. It really is something that is ultimately determined by the Orange County Industrial and Development Agency, the IDA in Orange County. The power plant resides in the town of Newburgh, so Orange County controls that piece to it. But we wanted to make sure that the school district had a direct role in developing what a pilot ultimately would become. Again, this is just an understanding. This is not involving the IDA yet. The IDA ultimately has to determine this, but this is a result of dialogue that's happened between the power plant and the school district. So we again broke this into 2 phases. The current pilot expires in 2022. If the plan holds true as is right now, the new plant wouldn't go online until 2023, so there would have been technically a gap year. So Phase 1, prior to the completion of the newer power plant, we've come to an understanding that the existing pilot that's in place right now would continue out for 5 years. It ensures consistency with their current payment. So for us, that ensures consistent economic viability for it. Phase 2, again, would be after the completion of the new power plant. It would be a 20-year pilot. It's very difficult to see these numbers on this page because of the numbers, not because of their size, but when you look at it, the year 2042 and 2043 are on there. It just seems like that's so far away, but that's a 20-year pilot. The benefit to that also, it establishes a new starting rate that's higher than their current rate, and then it locks in a fixed annual increase of 2.5%. The net effect of the community benefit agreement and this understanding, if adopted by the IDA or even improved by the IDA, would have a minimum impact positively for the school district over the 20 years of $39.5 million of revenue for the school district. So we feel that this is an important element as we look at the long-term viability of Marlboro's tax base, these power plants that are down on the river, understanding that the power plant that's there right now is aging out. It is an old plant. It's from back in either the 50s or the 60s. How long can that plant last in its current state? Dance Camera recognizes that. They're looking to rebuild, and we're looking to make sure we capture our piece of the tax burden over the long run. So over the next coming months, or whatever period of time it takes, we will be actively pursuing with the Orange County IDA a final resolution to what the pilot will actually be. I'm asking the Board of Education tonight to consider this and vote on this memorandum of understanding that does outline the community benefit agreement and the pilot. The community benefit agreement is something we fully control within the school district here, so if it's adopted by the Board of Education, it's already approved by Dance Camera Energy, we would immediately move on to the economic benefit of the community benefit agreement. The pilot, again, requires IDA approval. We will move forward with pushing for that process, making sure that we are part of the process. Any questions?
Mike, just so to make sure we're all understand, even if they can't get the approval or the IDA has an issue with their pilot, if the new building isn't built, at a minimum, we're going to get 5 years at $100,000 more, which is $500,000 more than we would have under the current system.
Correct. If the board adopts tonight, we immediately have the benefit of that $500,000, $100,000 out over 5 years, $500,000.
And then no matter what the IDA does, if the plan is approved and the pilot, whatever pilot the IDA approves, separate and apart from that, for 5 years from when it takes in effect, we'll get $250,000 a year. So a little over $1.2 million.
$1.25 million over 5 years, $250,000 a year, guaranteed money once the plant is built.
once the plant is built.
Correct.
But if the absolute worst-case scenario is they can't build the plant, we still come out $500,000 ahead.
Correct. Remember, the current CBA, Community Benefit Agreement, has paid us nothing in the last 6 years.
Okay. Any of the board members have any questions? Okay. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to the student representatives report. Elizabeth?
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to touch base on a few things that are going to be happening before break. The Marlborough Elementary School is hosting an ENL, English as a New Language, Family Fun Night tonight at the Marlborough Elementary School. This program is taught within the school by Mrs. Moran. The MES 5th grade spring concert will be Monday, May 20th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Field day for grades K through 3 will be Monday, May 20th at Marlborough Elementary School, followed by grades 4 through 5 on May 21st. The 4th grade spring concert for Marlborough Elementary will be May 22nd from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The Marlborough Middle School 8th grade field trip to Washington, D.C. began this Wednesday and is until Friday, May 17th. Here, children will learn about the foundation of our country and its government while also visiting historic monuments. The Marlborough High School hosted a Memorial Day ceremony followed by a breakfast today for local veterans, which was hosted by class officers and the National Honor Society. NYSSMA Choral Majors is Monday, May 20th at Walk Hill High School. Here, students will perform their choral pieces to receive a scoring and a plaque. Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to Student of the Month.
Yes, the fun part. Can we start with the middle school, please?
Good evening and thank you. May is National Physical Fitness Month, and we would normally be recognizing our May Student of the Month, but she is currently in Washington, D.C. But with that being said, we still do need to recognize our April Student of the Month, who was unable to attend last month but is here this month. It is my pleasure to recognize Alexis DeLauro and her teacher, Miss Heather Nicola.
The Marlborough Middle School's Special Education Department is honored to present Alexis DeLauro, a stellar 7th grade student, as April's Student of the Month. Alexis was new to the Marlborough School District and began her academic journey with us in 6th grade. Mrs. Plover, one of her 6th grade teachers, stated, Alexis is one of the most hardest working students she's ever had the pleasure to teach. Fast forward to the end of 7th grade, and I couldn't agree with her more. Alexis's work ethic and drive to succeed academically has not gone unnoticed, and as a result, as of next year, Alexis will no longer need additional supports in her academic career. I have the pleasure to see Alexis every day, 8th period, in resource room. When she enters the room, she's like a ray of sunshine. Her smile and friendly greeting brighten up my afternoon. Alexis works hard and utilizes her time wisely during our class. She is always willing to lend a hand, whether it's to me or to a peer. Mr. Tarshin said Alexis has made strides in Spanish class this year and makes a good effort even when things become difficult. And Mr. Carlin, her ELA teacher, who was thrilled to hear that Alexis was receiving this honor, states her positivity in class rubs off on everyone. She is diligent, caring, and kind. And because of these wonderful and admirable qualities, it is my privilege to present Alexis as Marlborough Middle School's Student of the Month. I'm so very proud of you, and I know your future will be very bright and look forward to hear about the wonderful things in store for you in the years to come.
On behalf of the Board of Education, we'd like to congratulate you and thank you for being such a role model to your peers in middle school. Thank you.
Congratulations. You're welcome. Come on up for a picture.
move up to the high school this time.
This time, we'd like to invite up Alex Leduc, our Student of the Month, and our Math Department Chair, Marianne Monteverdi, to introduce him. Come on up, Alex. So, before I turn it over to Ms. Monteverdi, Alex is going to Bryant University in the fall in Rhode Island, and he's going to study business analytics and accounting. And I like to look at transcripts and report cards for students just to see what they've accomplished. And I did a triple take because Alex is a senior. He's earned 25 credits, and that's at the end of his junior year. 22 credits are required to graduate high school. So you're going to get 30 some odd credits from high school, which is a very strange thing to see. And just looking at it, he's taking the hardest classes in our building. He's got a full array of college courses the last 2 years in AP courses. He's a very quiet kid, plays sports in our building as part of Science Olympiad and different activities. We're just very proud of him. Leduc's a very academic family. His father, Mr. Leduc, is a math teacher in our building, and we're just very honored to have him here tonight. Ms. Monteverdi?
Good evening, members of the Board of Education, administrators, members of the community, parents, and friends. As you already know, each month during the school year, a department at the high school has the opportunity to recognize a single student who in that subject area demonstrates academic excellence and integrity. May belongs to the math department. We have many truly talented math students in our district, and especially in Alex's senior class. Narrowing the choice to just one was very difficult, but there was that one who stood out, not merely because he is an incredibly talented math student, but because Alex stands out in so many other ways. I had the privilege of being Alex's 9th grade honors geometry teacher when he was still just a little kid. The talent and traits we recognize here tonight were evident even then. Alex is a gifted math student, obviously, because he has good genes, but the traits that distinguish him are even more noteworthy. Alex is hardworking. He doesn't give up, no matter how difficult the task. Though Alex is never boastful and is not outwardly competitive, he is quietly driven and always strives to do his best. Alex is always in a good mood. I have never seen him not smiling. He never complains, no matter how much work my colleagues or I ever heaped upon him. Alex is humble. He doesn't draw attention to himself, which is exactly why my department wants to recognize him. It is my honor to introduce you to the high school math department's nomination for Student of the Month, Alex Leduc.
And Mrs. Walsh will go to the elementary school.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Milton and a glorious day of dry weather out there. At this time, it is Mrs. Kaplan and my extreme pleasure to introduce Marlborough Elementary School Student of the Month for the month of May, third grade student Madison Hagar. She's being presented by Morgan. Sorry, Morgan. I said to Mrs. Kaplan she had to keep me in line today. She didn't do a good job. Morgan, I'm so sorry. Third grade student Morgan Hagar, and she's being presented by her physical education teacher, Mrs. Palumbo, along with our physical education team of Mr. Becker and Miss Young. And here they are to tell you about how wonderful Morgan is.
Good evening. All right. Good evening, Mr. Brooks, Board of Ed, community members, and administrators and staff from the Marlborough School District. My name is Denise Palumbo, and I am a phys ed teacher at the Marlborough Elementary School. Beside me, I have my fellow PE teachers, Mr. Becker and Mrs. Young. All three of us have had the privilege of teaching Morgan. I had Morgan in kindergarten class, and then Mrs. Young, I believe, taught her in phys ed in first grade. Mr. Becker had her in second grade, and I have her now again in third grade. And I couldn't wait to get her back, honest. From kindergarten, I was waiting for her. So, we've come here tonight with the pleasure of presenting her, she's a third grade student. Usually in the past, we usually try to choose a fifth grader. We can choose, anyone from K-5 at MES, but she's just stood out so much. And the three of us discussed a student, and it was kind of like, yes, Morgan. Yes, definitely, without a doubt. She may be up for Student of the Month again in the future even. And in fifth grade, we also have another award for Moving Up Day. So we've already been discussing her name. I don't see how her behavior could change that much where, so you'll be hearing a lot about Morgan in the future from us for phys ed, for sure. So her superior athletic ability and love of sports has been evident since kindergarten. Her attitude is always positive. She's always smiling, and she's always just a leader among her classmates. She arrives to the gym every day, focused, dressed to play, and ready to go. She's never had any type of negative behavior issue, ever, never, for any of us. And as well as in the classroom, I spoke to her classroom teacher for this year, and I can't imagine in the past there's ever been a behavior issue. She's always respectful, always responsible and safe while moving. She participates with 100% effort, whatever we may be doing. I greet the class in the hallway. She's looking, listening, ready to go. So she excels in whatever activity we're doing. Whether it's just a little warm-up activity, she's doing it 100% on task always. If we're playing a group sport or whatever the activity may be. So, Miss Morgan, you're a role model for your peers and others, and we are all very, very proud of you. You're just amazing. Such a good girl. So, it's an honor to be here tonight to present her with Student of the Month for MES. Keep up the good work. Good thing you weren't. You'll see her again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Very impressive. Those words about you.
She's just,
Can we get a picture?
she's great.
You know, every month we do the Students of the Month, and it just jumps off the page that character counts. There's so much that we hear about our children, and certainly academic success, extraordinarily important and evident. Business analytics and accounting, that's pretty awesome. Every possible hard course you could take, impressive. Alexis, your teacher says you're stellar. You're a ray of sunshine. Morgan's a leader. She's respectful, positive attitude, superior athletic ability. The thing I like about the comment I love the best, though, and Morgan, wear this one proud, you beat out the fifth graders. I really am so proud of the Dukes that you send us every day. These are examples of the best of us, but quite honestly, these are examples of the most of us, too. So it's a great community. It's a great school district. It's great to be a Duke, and these three fine people are fantastic examples of great Dukes. So moms, dads, families, thank you so much for sending them to us every single day. Congratulations to all of you. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be here for the 5th year in a row. This is our 5th year celebrating Reflections at Marlborough Elementary School. My name is Christy Bogacek, and I teach 5th grade math at Marlborough, but I also stay active in the PTA. And so this is something that I've chaired because I believe in it for the last 5 years. Reflections is a program that allows children to express themselves in the arts. So it's not necessarily something that's about what they do in the classroom, but it allows them to express themselves in ways that they might find enjoyable outside of the classroom, whether that be visual arts or photography, dance choreography, or musical composition. Students are really allowed to take what they're passionate about and do something with it. So each year there's a theme, and this year's theme was Heroes Around Me. So students were able to take that theme and do whatever they felt with it, whether that be taking pictures of fire department vehicles or drawing a picture of the world and all of the kinds of people that are heroes for us. So I'm very, very pleased to present to you tonight our winners at the Marlborough Elementary School level. These children have all gone on to regionals, which is encompasses the Taconic region, which is all in Dutchess County. And we even have one student this year whose artwork has gone on to the state level, and we are actually represented there, so it's really wonderful. When I call your name, if you could please come up and get your certificate and your trophy, and then you can go, you want them in the front? Okay, right in the front. Adeline Appler for Primary Visual Arts. To the front, you lead the way. Kaylee Keene for Primary Visual Arts. Lucas Magyar for Primary Photography. Lucas is actually our young man who went on to the States this year. So his photography was at such a spectacular level that he represented Marlborough at the New York State level. So extra congrats, Lucas. Adeline has also been our winner this year for primary literature. So Adeline, you come back to us. And I'm very excited to tell you that Adeline has been with us since the very first year of Reflections. She has always given her all. The moment that she's was able to be a part of this program, she has been a part of it. So we're very happy to have her. Emma Lapola, Intermediate Literature. Miles Giansante, Intermediate Literature. I don't believe Miles could be with us tonight. Gabriel Appler for Intermediate Photography. As you can tell, talent runs in the Appler family. Abigail Lapola for Intermediate Photography. Congratulations. Ethan Sullivan for Intermediate Visual Arts. And Gianna Faricelia for Intermediate Visual Arts. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for participating.
Now, before we move on, there's one more recognition that has to be handed out tonight that's a surprise for the room. So I'm going to ask Faith to come back up from the PTA.
Good evening. This year, the MES PTA was happy to be able to nominate one of our teachers for the Taconic PTA's Teacher of the Year Award in honor of Helen Marchese. She was a director of the Taconic PTA from 1960 to 1963. She challenged all parents and teachers to become leaders and to serve to the limits of their capabilities. She encouraged teachers to influence, through constant guidance in school and community, the direction of parents as well as children. Helen served as an inspiration to us all because of her continual participation in PTA. This year we nominated Christy Bogacek for the award, and she was chosen by the Taconic PTA to win. So she will be recognized at the Taconic PTA Spring Conference at the end of May. She was picked amongst our whole region to win, so. Thank you so much. She's been our teacher rep. She's been our teacher rep for the past 2 years. She started the Reflections program in our school and has continued to run it. This year we didn't have a PARP representative. She took that on. Anything I need, she does. She got her husband to participate in our Wizards fundraiser and play basketball with us. She's at every activity that we have. She helps me with the yearbook. She's my go-to, so thank you and congratulations.
Okay, we're going to take a short break for those that want to go home. Then we're going to move into our regular business. Before you do that, we need to go into executive session for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll resume the meeting. So can I have a motion to go into executive? Susan, second. James? It's for pending or proposed litigation. Thank you. We'll be back. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we'll bring the meeting back to order. And once the computer works. Okay, so because I know there's a bunch of us here to talk about things that aren't on the agenda, so unfortunately I have to wait till the end public comment period. But so, public comment on agenda items. Any public comment on agenda items?
Joanne Reed Newberg. On the personnel agenda, the specialty part-time, what is that? It says custodian, but it says OFS. And is it a new position? Is it a new hire? It doesn't exactly say. It just says part-time specialty.
Right, that's is a custodial appointment for a vacancy that we have.
Okay. Thank you, but would it, okay, just.
That OFS is the union that covered.
Oh, that's what okay, I wasn't sure. I figured I would ask.
Facilities
is, right.
and
So,
operations and food service. Thank you.
okay, thank you. That was it.
Okay. Any other public comments on the agenda items? We'll move to consent agenda. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approve the contracts, agreements, and reports as presented. Personnel recommendations, donations to the backpack program, financial reports for April, budget transfers, and unofficial board meeting minutes of 5/9/19 as presented. Can I have a motion? Susan, second. James, any discussion? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Motion carries, 5-0. Yes.
So this is a second introduction for someone. We have an appointment, actually it's really first, as a certified art teacher. So I want to introduce to you Julie Boylan, who worked with us last year in our elementary art program and really showed herself to be a fantastic artist and also a fantastic, kind, caring, nurturing teacher with our youngest students in the elementary school. And Julie, I'm so pleased to bring you back for next school year as a leave replacement, and so happy to help celebrate publicly your certification that I know you worked so hard for. So congratulations and welcome to Marlboro again.
Okay, we're going to move on to recommended actions. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approve the Marlboro High School senior class trip for Friday. That's not worded right. Class trip Friday, April 17th, 2020 through Monday, April 20th, 2020 to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida as presented. Can I have a motion? Susan, second. Tony, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Request for proposals. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, reject all proposals submitted for the Energy Performance Contract RFP MCSD 052019. Can I have a motion? James, second. Tony. Any discussion?
So we had these proposals reviewed by an engineer in our architecture firm, and their exact words were that they were underwhelmed by the proposals that were provided. They feel that we should be able to get a more robust proposal that better serves the district. So we're in the process right now of having legal and insurance review a new RFP to be issued. As soon as they're done with that review, we'll issue the new RFP, and they expect that we will see more competition and ultimately get better proposals.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion's carried 5-0. Larkin's Facility Grant Secret Determination. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approve the Larkin Facilities Grant Secret designation as presented. Can I have a motion? James, second. Russell, any discussion? This we discussed in the Facilities Committee, the last Facilities Committee. This is to use the grant money to do the work for the baseball and softball fields. It's just our declaration that we have to do. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Dan Scammer MOU. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approves the Memorandum of Understanding with Dan Scammer Energy, LLC, dated May 13th, 2019. Can I have a motion? Tony, second. James, any discussion? Just so everybody knows, this is what the presentation was about earlier. So it guarantees the district at least a minimum of $500,000, even if the plant isn't built. So, any other discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Okay. Old business. Is there any old business? Any new business? Any other items?
I wanted to recommend to Mr. Brooks. I went to a very, very disturbing presentation this evening on human trafficking, and I think that it would behoove the district on so many levels, if you have not already, to make that topic a part of your education and development days with staff, because there is just so much. I think that many of us understand, sometimes assume who the victims are, why they're the victims, but it is actually very surprising who the victims actually can be. In regards to children, a lot of times it is family members. A lot of times children are sold due to drug addictions. A lot of times they're sold off for trafficking due to labor issues, fraud. So there's so many things that we need to be aware of, because again, like many other things, we are the first line of defense for our children. And it's a topic that you would think that you don't want to see it. It's not here, it can't be here, but of course it is. And also too, there is laboring traffic, which is a huge problem. And if we can just get educated on that and be aware of that, so we can be the first line of defense for our children, that would be great.
Any other items? Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. Each speaker shall state their name and town of residence. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Keep the comments as brief as possible to school business. If anybody has a comment, please come up and...
Do you unmute again? Which I didn't get to do, was on the grant that we're getting, Senator Larkins, for the baseball field, which when I was on the facility committee, this was talked about. And one of the things that we talked about was the girls' softball field not having enough drainage. That field has lots of water in it, so apparently that was basically ignored. Nobody actually went out and walked that field on the back.
You misheard what we said. This is for the baseball and the softball fields to do all that. The grant process, although we've got this grant
a while ago.
We're at that
point
ago, yes, to do the secret so that we can move forward with the work.
So that will take care of the drainage on the girls' softball field? Because it doesn't say it's taking care of the...
The grant was for $125,000.
Correct.
So we've got a general scope, and it really depends on what needed improvements get in terms of how far that goes. So
That's why I brought it up when I was on the facilities, because that field needed to be drained. Before you approved this, that should have been looked
right,
at.
the work that's been scoped has been done in collaboration with Ms. O'Donnell, the athletic director, along with her coaches, and Mr. Cavazza, the director of facilities. So these are areas that they have identified as a priority to be addressed.
And who will be doing the work? Does it get
We're
contracted
not
out?
at that point yet. This is just a declaration point.
And that will cover the $125,000, the whole grant,
We are spending all the money that's in the grant.
with the labor included, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. That was it.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Adam Federa. I've been a resident of Marlboro approximately 28 years. I have an amazing supportive wife and 2 strong, smart boys. My older son is a graduate of Marlboro Central Schools, and my youngest is currently a 6th grader in the district. 4 years ago, my younger son came home with a flyer from the Highland Lacrosse Club. We were excited since Hunter was not a fan of baseball, and we didn't have a sport lined up for the spring to play. Well, here I am 4 years later, having coached and met some of the most fantastic people along the way. My lacrosse family, as I've come to call them, have grown exponentially over the years. Like my lacrosse family, the game of lacrosse has been growing. I'll give you guys a few statistics. This goes back to 2006. At the youth level, there was approximately 220,000 players in the U.S. As of 2017, that number has grown to approximately 450,000 players. As you can tell, the numbers, they're big. There is still a lot of room for growth. There are now 3 major league lacrosse teams throughout the country. Colleges are also growing in lacrosse. For example, Utah has recently started a team, which means that the corn-fed belt is just getting into this great, fantastic game. Colleges like New Paltz have also started a team. Marlboro residents have enjoyed success in college, like Jack Young, Chris Slapik. These players have been accepted or currently play in Division I schools. Chris Slapik this season, while playing for Marist, his team won the MAC championship in their conference and have placed 17th in all colleges in America. Marlboro students on the women's side have not fell short either. Liz Fino recently scored her 300th goal and set a state record of 16 goals in one game. Recently, Marlboro has began an intramurals program to develop the game for a possible modified team. A lot of us families that have come out tonight are excited for it. I feel the rollout of the program didn't quite meet our expectations. We would like to have seen more of a presence there. We're excited about it. I feel the rollout was done poorly. I'm not here to point fingers at anyone. The Marlboro School District has always been and continues to be very supportive with the game of lacrosse. I know there wouldn't be an intramurals program if Marlboro was not going to support the game. One of the things I am looking for is a lacrosse advocate on this board. We know we have your support, but we need someone who's going to fight for us. And I believe all of you, I think in some ways I've spoken with some of you, you're all fighting in the background, I know you are. But we need someone to really advocate for us and really push this. I know there wouldn't be, here, hold on, I'm sorry, my speech is terrible here. One of the things I'm looking for is an advocate from you guys. There have already been situations that have been divisive to the Highland Lacrosse Club with its Marlboro players. Last year, Highland Schools implemented a modified program for the 7th and 8th graders, and the Marlboro kids were left without a team. I immediately implemented a 7th and 8th grade team at the rec team level to allow the children the opportunity to continue to play lacrosse, as they have done since many started in 2nd grade together. We have lost people due to us being late to the game. The 3 of the Marlboro players that have been absorbed into other modified sports like track and baseball. We are hopeful that they will return back to lacrosse once Marlboro has a team. Losing players is detrimental to the growth of this game, and in time could affect the successful nature of the varsity program. Help me grow the game. After discussing with the intramural coach, it seems like we will have enough players this year, but we must protect the future so that both towns can prosper.
I know the board as a whole has been very supportive, has voted to institute the program and move forward. If you're gonna have any luck with keeping the way the system is now, and I know we've talked about this, the key thing is going to get the Highland School District Board to sorry, Mike, to budge on the modified issue, because I agree. It's hard to have a youth program that's combined, then have a modified program that's separate, and then a varsity program that's combined.
Sure.
And I'd be more than happy if you're going to go that route. You know, school boards are different than government, right? Other governments. We only act as a board as a whole, but I don't miss much in the way of the lacrosse games at the high school and the college level. If you're gonna go and you're gonna meet with Highland and they want to try and have further discussions when they as a board talk, I know we as a board are very open to that.
I've had conversations today on the phone with other board members at the Highland level. Two of them I spoke with today. I won't speak for them, but they're willing to work with us. And to me, that's really all we want. You know, if the kids don't have an opportunity at Highland, then we explore other options if we can't field our own teams. The hard part of this to me is I've been coaching for many years with these kids from second grade, and they're going to have to part with each other for 2 years and then try to get back together later on. And, you know,
it's
a lot of these...
It's not too late. If you can work that advocacy, as our superintendent and athletic director work for us, their superintendent and athletic director work for them. So if the advocacy is there and that board makes a decision, I have no doubt that this board will support the merger of modified lacrosse. So.
Sounds amazing.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything. I know a lot of you have done a lot of stuff to help us, whether it's fields. I mean, I'm not here to point fingers. And that's for the Highland side, too. They've been extremely supportive on both sides. So it's just how do we got a good thing going. Let's keep it going, you know? If we have to split because of numbers, then we split. I mean, that's fine. But
we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We're not even close. Yeah. So thank you very much.
John Palmer, town of Newburgh, also here with Adam regarding the lacrosse. My main question is, I've been involved with it. I've got one student that's at the high school level, and I've got one fifth grader that's been playing since he was in kindergarten. My one question is, if we don't get that cooperation from Highland, can we start a modified program here next year to even just to start to grow the game? There's, as we know, there's a tremendous amount of athletes in this school district, and you know, we're just starting to kind of to grow the game. I'm just worried that if the agreement is not reached, summer comes along, it's going to get kicked to the curb, and we're going to be back here again, begging and pleading to try to have a place to play for all these kids, these athletes. I can speak from a scheduling standpoint. We've done everything we can to maintain a 7/8 youth level. Problem is, last year there was 17 different teams that we had availability within the Mid-Hudson Lacrosse League. Now it's down to approximately 6 for the 7/8 group. More and more schools are going to the modified route. That option of having a rec league to allow kids from Marlboro School District to continue playing until they get to the high school level is slowly going down the drain, and they're going to have there's going to be no options for them to continue to play. I just am asking if the board will consider, can we roll out, they've got the intramurals, can we try to roll out a modified program for the boys and girls, if the interest is there for both, if we can't get Highland to work with us? And then lastly, how do we, is there anything that you can do on your end to open up those talks with Highland? Because we're just one person.
This is what you have to do there.
Okay.
We, as a board, through the superintendent, had those discussions with Highland, and I tried to talk to the superintendent at a meeting even. It's theirs it's really the ball's in their court. I would say try that, see what happens. And we have 2 meetings in June still. If the end of June you haven't had any success, because I know it's a huge issue with the section and scheduling, and I know Ms. O'Donnell, it's a lot of work, but we have a reorg meeting on July 1st. If it doesn't look like there's any movement, let's have that conversation then, so we can see where we go.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
like I said, our reorg meeting is July, and then we don't really have one until late in August. But that July 1st meeting, if you haven't had any luck at the other end, let's talk again.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you guys doing tonight? Giorgio D'Angelo, Highland resident. I just kind of want to make a statement to you guys to let you know that there is people in Highland that. My biggest thing is I want the Marlboro kids to have a home on the team. I played on the varsity team for 4 years. I was a goalie for 2 section championships. That program meant a lot to me. I started lacrosse in 7th grade, and I'll tell you what, the day that I stepped foot on the field for my first youth practice, it was my life was going this way, and it could have went this way or this way. Lacrosse put me in the right path. So, I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing whatever I can from my perspective as a Highland resident. I'm a junior in college. I guess I'm still a kid, but I think I have a grasp on how certain things go. Maybe not perfectly, but for what it sounds like, it's more of a Highland thing that's causing a problem, and not you. You guys sound like you're trying to be as flexible as possible, because my biggest concern is, if Highland and Marlboro split from the 2 teams, how successful are they going to be able to field teams? Because you see Highland right now, they just came off their 4th straight section championship with Marlboro players being key components to that. Guys like Jack Young, Reno Tambori, Chris Schlappick, Danny Rusk, those guys. And I don't know if I just think, both programs will tank, in my opinion. And that's not what I want. I don't want to lose that for my town and your town, because I think, like Adam was saying, lacrosse is getting big, and it's only going to get bigger. And for something as successful as this program to kind of go down the drain, because of I don't want to say politics. I know there's a meaning for everything, but the moral of my kind of thing here is I want to let you guys know that I will do whatever I can from my Highland side, because I don't want to see this happen to Marlboro or Highland, because it kind of sucks. So, I'm supporting everybody here. So I'll send emails, I'll write letters, make phone calls, because I care about this just as much as everyone else here. Yeah, if they put me to work. So thank you guys for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Please remember, everybody, Tuesday, budget vote. Please come out and vote. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn. Tony, second. Susan, all in favor? Aye.